Golden chunks of apple, bubbling in cinnamon sugar, baked into a tender bread, then finished with a glossy maple glaze, or a bourbon kiss drizzle if you like it bold. I'm Stone, the Mountaintop Baker, and this is my maple-glazed apple fritter bread. Welcome to the Mountaintop Kitchen, where every bake tells a story. We're going to start by coring 2 apples. Now, I really like Granny Smith for apple fritters, but I'd like to mix it up a little bit to get some different flavors in there. So we're going to use 1 medium Granny Smith apple and also a pink lady. So we're just going to core these quickly, and then we're going to dice them. It's easy if you have a corer, and a corer can also be used for other things like making holes in cupcakes to fill. And we're just going to slice these into nice little slices rather than wedges, that sort of thing. Okay, and let's cut these up. Okay, we're just about finished dicing up these 2 apples, our Granny Smith and our Pink Lady. So we're just going to get these into the bowl, and then we're going to macerate them with some sugar and add in some cinnamon and let them set while we prepare the batter. Now, this takes me back to my college days when me and my buddies, Lawson and Ken, late nights would go down to the Ralph's Donut Shop. And it was always a treat going there. We'd get apple fritters, and that's why I'm making this. Ralph is a tradition in Tennessee, in Cookeville, and it was the perfect place. They had like about 100 and something kinds of donuts and open all night long, 24 hours. And there was always this drunk guy that was sitting in the second. There were like 2 U's of counters with stools. He was always in the back side and kind of out of it, sloshed a little bit. So we're making this bourbon glazed in honor of our friend that was always sitting over there. We never talked to him, but he was a nice guy. He was kind of out of it most of the time. So we're going to add in our sugar. Get all of it in there. And our cinnamon. And just mix this up. We're going to let this macerate. So I'm just going to mix it up. Actually, I'm going to just get in there with my hands. Always make sure you wash your hands and you have some nice clean hands. Okay, so that's mixed up. We're going to set this aside. We're going to start working on our batter after we clear up a little bit. Oh, but before we do that, it would be a good idea for you to prepare your 8 by 8 inch tin. Now I have mine lined with some parchment paper and some clips just to hold it down. You don't need to do that. But we're going to grease this a little bit with some baking spray, and it's ready to pop into our oven. So as soon as we do a little clear up, we'll come back and we'll start on the batter. Moving on now to our batter, we're going to go ahead and whisk all of our dry ingredients together. So we have our all-purpose flour. We have some salt. I'm using a kosher salt. You can use a sea salt, Himalayan salt. Try to stay away from table salt. It's a little harsh. And baking powder. So let's get all that in there. All of the quantities will be right here on screen or in the description box below if you're watching on YouTube, or from our link to our Substack recipe newsletter. All of that's right below. Okay, so we're just going to whisk all the dry ingredients together to get everything nice and combined. So to start our wet ingredients, we have our softened unsalted butter. We're going to beat that up to break it up a little bit. You do want to start with room temperature butter. So let's just break that up, get it nice and fluffy. And we're going to add our sugar into that. And make sure you get all of your sugar out. You don't leave any of that behind. There we go. And just keep beating. I have such fond memories of going to Ralph's Donut Shop. Late nights while studying, taking a break with my friends. It is an iconic donut shop in Cookeville, Tennessee, where I went to undergraduate school at Tennessee Tech University. We're going to beat this for about, 3 minutes until it looks nice and fluffy and we have our sugar and our butter mixed well together. You always want to remember to scrape your bowl down because you might have some butter or some sugar riding up on the side or hanging out down the bottom of your bowl. So get down there too. All right, that's looking pretty good, and we're going to keep mixing. Now, if you want to read some more about Ralph's Donut Shop, check out the newsletter, link below, because we have a lot of really good pictures of the donut shop. It's such an iconic place and brings back really fond memories, and it has such great donuts too. Okay, it's been about 3 minutes. Let's go ahead and add in our eggs. So we're going to do those one at a time. If you're getting eggshell in there, just fish it out. You can go ahead and add in the second one, but we're going to scrape down again, just because that's the right thing to do. And add in our second egg. There we go, no eggshell, good. And go ahead and get that in. Scrape down again before we add in our dry ingredients. Okay, so now I'm going to add in the dry ingredients, half of the dry ingredients. So about half, just eyeball it. Okay, and get that mixed in, nice and slow. Remember, once you add your flour, you don't want to overmix because we don't want to develop the gluten, and we don't want to have a tough cake. That would not be good. Okay, so that's pretty much in there. I'm going to add the milk now. So let's get that in there, and then we'll add in the rest of the flour. Nice and slow, slow as it goes, until you get it in there. You don't want that milk sloshing out anywhere. Okay, I'm just going to scrape down my bowl again, because that is the right thing to do. And let's get in the second half of our flour. Our flour and our baking powder and our salt. And again, gently. I'm going to scrape down to get some of the flour off the side of the bowl. Flour and other dry ingredients. And just until you see no more streaks of flour. And there you go. We have our batter ready, except we have one more thing to put in. We need to put in 2 teaspoons of vanilla. So let's go ahead and do that right now. We need to add in our 2 teaspoons of vanilla. 1. Who doesn't like vanilla? And this, it's really good to use a good vanilla. Now I have Mexican vanilla and I have this, Madagascar vanilla. Whatever you can find will work. Try to get a good vanilla though. It really helps out with punching up the flavor. Okay, and that's mixed in nice. Okay, so we're gonna get this into the pan. I have my convection oven heating up at 325 Fahrenheit, and we have just about everything ready now. So let's get moving on with baking. All right, our batter is right here. We have our macerated, diced up apples, our Pink Lady and our Granny Smith. And we've got the bourbon waiting here on the side. We're not going to use that quite yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of eyeball it and put about half of the batter into my 8 by 8 inch pan. And then we're going to layer it with the apples. So here we go. Okay. Okay, And we're just going to take about half of our diced up macerated apples and spread that over the top of the batter. Just kind of drop it in, get it like evenly spread out. Nicely. Okay, I think we're going to stop right there and just get in the rest of the batter. So here we go. Let's get in the rest of this batter. I'm going to kind of dollop it around so I don't disturb the underlying apples too much. And again, just spread it around. I think we'll do a very good job with that. And then just sprinkle the rest of your apples on top of that. Kind of evenly. All right, we don't want to use that juice, let's dump it in around. Okay, and you just want to kind of nudge them into the batter a little bit. Just kind of press them down in. And we're going to get this into the oven right now. So let's get this baked, and while it's baking, we're going to make our bourbon glaze to go on top after it comes out. Ooh, okay. All right. Our apple fritter bread is out of the oven. We're going to let it sit here and cool for a little while. While our apple fritter bread is cooling down, we're going to go ahead and prepare our maple bourbon glaze. Now, you don't have to add the bourbon, that's optional. But we're going to add it to honor the old man that used to sit at the far counter at late nights when we used to go there. And he was a little sloshed, and he had his coffee, but he was kind of slumped over. And so maybe he was asleep, maybe he was sloshed, we don't know. But to honor him, we're pretty sure he was sloshed. But to honor him, we're going to go ahead and add the bourbon into our glaze. So we're going to start by, I have some powdered sugar here that I've already sifted. And I'm just going to add in the maple syrup. Get all that goodness in there. You're going to love this apple fritter bread with this special glaze on it. I'm going to add a tablespoon of this fine Kentucky bourbon. This is Woodford Reserve. Sounds fancy. So let's just get the lid off if I can. And we're going to put about a tablespoon. You can put more if you want, but we're just going to put a tablespoon in. There we go. And we're going to give that a little mix. And let's mix this up. We have some milk here that we're going to add in to loosen this up as we need to. And we need to because it's pretty stiff. Just add a little bit at a time because you don't know how much you're going to need, and a little bit goes a long way. Okay, this is starting to look pretty good. How's this looking? It's looking pretty thick, but I think that looks good. So we're just going to let this sit until our bread has warmed down a little bit. It's a little bit too hot right now to put the glaze on. So as soon as this has cooled down a bit, we'll be right back to add in our bourbon maple glaze. Look at this bread. It smells so good. Trust me, you're not here, but I can smell it and it smells good. So I'm just going to dollop on this bourbon maple glaze and let it run all over the place. Let it seep down in between the little pieces of apples into every little nook and cranny. But I'm just going to put it in dollops here and there. Doesn't have to be perfect. I think that's pretty good. All right. We have our maple bourbon glaze on. I still have a little bit left over, but I think that's going to be enough. I don't want to overdo it. So it's still a little warm, and in a minute or two, we'll give it a cut and try it out. Okay. Our apple fritter is ready. It is glazed with our maple bourbon glaze. It smells great, looks great. Let's cut into it and give it a try. So I'm going to cut just a corner here. So let's just cut right through here and right through here, just like that. Okay, I can't wait. I can't wait. I've got to get this into my mouth. Okay, let's get under there. Oh my God, there you go. Look at that. Oh my God, doesn't that look great? Let's get it on a plate. Okay. And let's try this out. This looks so good. It's still warm. Oh, look at that, nice and flaky. This is divine. Yum. Apple fritter bread. Homage to my university donut shop where I used to go. It wasn't affiliated with the university, it was off campus. But it's where everybody went. All the students went to Ralph's donut shop. You know, Ralph is no longer with us, Ralph and Evelyn, but they were the inspiration for this. So please do subscribe by hitting that little button right down there. Go to the newsletter, the recipe newsletter, link down below, to get this recipe and so many more, and to read the story about Ralph's Donut Shop, because we got some pictures and we have a little bit of a story going on there too. And if you like this recipe, how about trying out this one right up here? I think you're going to like it too. And thanks so much for stopping by the Mountaintop Kitchen today. And we'll see you next time. I'm going to keep on eating this because it's just too delicious to waste. Yum. Bye.